Over the past couple of years, the real estate industry has been going through significant changes to adapt to the growing expectations from sellers, buyers, landlords and tenants, not to mention the impact that recent changes to legislation is having in each state, which is making it harder to operate a real estate agency as we know it. And in addition to government influences, agents need to absorb the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, which is having devastating impacts to some agencies across Australia. So never before has it been as important for business owners to understand their business metrics, their financials, their cash flow projections, their unique points of differences and how they benchmark their business against other agencies, either in their direct market or similar agency types throughout Australia. So recently, the Real Estate Resource Group, which is a not-for-profit referral network of businesses solely established to support and provide resources to real estate agents across Australia and New Zealand, had invited Domonic Thompson, the head of residential real estate at Macquarie Bank, to present to the members and guests and provide an in-depth assessment of the 2020 Real Estate Industry Pulse Check report, which is Macquarie Bank's benchmarking report. In this episode, Domonic explains if you don't have a business that has the right processes and systems now, the worst thing you could do would be to buy a rent roll and try and absorb it into your business. At the end of the episode, we'll share with you the contact details of the members of the Real Estate Resource Group, so feel free to reach out to them if you have any pain points or struggles in your business that you need help with. And of course, if you'd like to reach out to Domonic or one of his team or chat about the range of services that Macquarie Bank offers real estate agents, we've posted their contact details also. Hope you enjoy it. Over to you, Domonic.
Yes, there's a downward pressure on commissions, and yes, the volatility and uncertainty in market is meaning that financial outcomes are less certain and certainly, as I said, more volatile. What's happening with that is just a continued focus on property management. Now, this has been an agenda that's been playing out for a period of time. We've been beating the drum about property management for longer than I care to imagine. But the industry is really getting it now. We're starting to see greater, as I say, consolidation, people focused on growth. But I must stress here, there's no point growing for growth's sake. Growth needs to be well thought through. It needs to be provided for in terms of your vision and your strategy. And fundamentally, if you actually don't have a business that has the right systems and processes and arguably organic growth in place right now, the worst thing you can do is actually go out and buy another rent roll and bolt that in, because it'll end up just falling out the bottom. And whilst you'll be topping up the bar from the top, it'll be falling out the plug from the other end as well. So it's more than just lip service in property management. But what we're seeing as property portfolios start to get bigger and scale and consolidation comes through the market, through in the industry and the marketplace, we're seeing that property management is contributing a greater percentage of overall revenue within a real estate business. Some of it will be impacted by market conditions, because if you've got lower sales activity, it's no surprise that property management will be a larger component. But as well as that, yes, that is happening, but more so, we're just seeing a focus on growth and consolidation, and more noticeably, we're actually seeing that consolidation play out because we're involved in the majority of those transactions that occur in market. So what this is showing is that WA and Queensland are leading the way. The majority of their revenue in their businesses is actually coming from property management, 52% and 50% respectively. Victoria and New South Wales have still got a way to go, but let's be mindful that they've been operating in very buoyant sales markets for a period of time. It doesn't mean they're not focused on property management, but I think we'll see a correction there, and we'll see some improvement in those numbers as time passes. Here's a little bit more insight as to what's happening in property management specifically. So in the top left-hand corner, it's those property management commissions at a state level. I've already touched on that. In the bottom left, the average portfolio sizes in each state, again, from the survey respondents that came through. And you'll see there's some really strong average numbers. Victoria has always led the way. Victoria has always been a very mature market as it relates to the understanding of the importance of property management. WA is a real standout there. That's almost doubled in the last couple of years from what we've seen. But again, challenging market conditions, a lot of consolidation playing through, and some scale really coming into that marketplace. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see the national average of portfolio sizes. So from our first survey back in 2010, 375 was the average portfolio in a real estate business, and that's now up to 729. And no surprise, the percentage of property management revenue that is contributing to the overall revenue is growing hand in hand with that as well. So downward pressure on commissions, really continued volatile backdrop for revenue and profitability, and importance of property management really coming through. Some really key themes that we're seeing playing out at the moment. As it relates, and I might just touch on the COVID landscape here, and the actual impact on the market that COVID has had since, let's say, March. We reflected on our clients' numbers across our business in the last few weeks, and over the April, May, June quarter, it was approximately a 25% decline in sales activity and a 5% decline in property management revenue. So we were obviously all wondering exactly what would happen with the sales activity, social distancing, and not just social distancing, but first and foremost, having real estate businesses operationalize against this COVID backdrop of social distancing. And I think the standout for me was that there were many businesses that simply hadn't embraced the cloud, hadn't embraced technology, didn't even have laptops for their staff, that had a lot of work to do in a short space of time to actually operationalize. Now, the fact that we've gone through that already means now, certainly in Victoria, and can I just at this point say to everyone in Victoria, I hope you are looking after your physical, mental and emotional well-being and that of your staff. It's so critically important at this time. Our thoughts are with you, and we hope that the lockdown doesn't last any longer than what they're saying. But operationalizing a real estate business was unfortunately the focus of way too many in the industry when social distancing first came through. Now that we're in potentially secondary lockdowns, clearly for Victoria right now, and who knows for the rest of the country, most businesses, well, all businesses can now work remotely. They can conduct business. They've embraced things like online auctions. They're now in the cloud and not on servers. All of those things, they've got their people set up remotely, and they're leading their teams remotely. That was one of the biggest takeouts for me, the lack of preparedness in that sort of environment. I think the other thing for me was around where people are spending time against this COVID backdrop. And I think as leaders, it's so critically important that we invest the time where activity is subdued to be really driving activity levels post-COVID or post-lockdown to really set ourselves up for success moving forward. It is really hard to lead a team in an office. It's even harder to lead a team when you've got people working in their own offices remotely, under the same roof in which they live, in which they are with their partners and with their family. It's a really challenging time. And to the point I made around physical, mental and emotional well-being, I just strongly encourage each of you to reach out and really ramp up the communication and investment of time with your staff on that basis, because it's a pretty challenging time out there to work remotely, let alone talk about some of the things that we're talking about today.